Okay, now we're going to start the session, Mind-Blowing Content Planning in Native Drupal. Happy to see so many people joining the session. And yeah, I'm excited to talk at DrupalCon Global. And what you're going to learn today is the following. Well, yeah, what you're going to learn is why Excel is wrong for editorial planning, obviously, and how editorial planning in Drupal could or should be. And then I'm going to introduce the Drupal Content Planner module. So you learn about the module and why we started it actually. And also I'm going to do a demo installation because I got a lot of requests, also some help how to actually configure the module. And I will do a demo. It's very easy to install the module. You can set it up in less than 5 minutes on your site. So I'm going to show that to you, and I will close the session with 3 takeaways out of this session. And if we still have time at the very end, yeah, there's a question asked answer. Yeah, hopefully we have time for questions and answers. So a little bit about me. I'm Lucas. I think we really live in an exciting time, especially. We saw it during the COVID time, how digitalization and digital transformation actually can help people and society. And yeah, I'm all about technology. I'm all about, well, digital. I love open source. And I'm the founder of NetNode. We are a digital agency here in Switzerland. We are based in Lucerne. Maybe you heard of Lucerne. I mean, we are at DrupalCon Global, and it's maybe nice for you to see where people come from. If you've been in Lucerne, I'm sure you saw this wonderful wood bridge and the Mount Pilatus in the background. Whenever you are in Lucerne, please contact us. You can contact me. I can give you a guide. We can walk through the old town. It's a wonderful city to live in. Yeah. Besides the business and the wonderful city I live in, I'm also a passionate gardener and a permaculture enthusiast. So whenever I'm not in front of the computer, I'm mostly in the garden growing whatever vegetable. So, but before I start the talk, actually, I want to learn a little bit more about you, and we're going to do stretching because for me, it was already a long day. It's 7 p.m. Already. If it's early for you, then stretching is ideal. And we're going to do it like this. Please stand up and literally, yes, stand up in front of your desk. Then you can answer the question, yes. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and please stand up and write your role in the chat and stand up, okay? So first of all, if you're a developer, write it in the chat and stand up. Just want to learn who you are. Nice, lots of developers. So if you are marketing communication position, please write it down in the chat and stand up, please. And we do the same for if you work in SEO, especially SEO people. If you're working especially with content strategies, social media people, and also C-level CEO, CTOs, please stand up. Oh, lots of developers. And if you use Drupal on a daily basis, also please stand up. So also I have to stand up now because we're gonna do the stretching. So it's very weird for me because I cannot see you, but we do the stretching. So please breath in now and go to one side. Breathe out, and then on the other side, breathe in. Oh, this is good. And we do a second time. I mean, stretching is very good. Do a second time, breathe in. And on the other side, breathe in. Okay, very good. So much more relaxed now. Okay, let's start. And you can sit down, I want to say. So what else we have in common, except that we are all Drupal people and now all relaxed and stretched? Well, what do we have in common? Well, as people working in the digital space, we mostly work with content. We actually all the time work with content. Whatever role you have to approve content, you have to create content, you have to build a system where you can manage content, Drupal, whatever you do. And most of the contents you create end up at one point within Drupal, whether it's a blog post, a landing page you create, or a campaign where you lead an ad campaign to a landing page, whatever. So we work with content, but the question is, how does actually Drupal help? Drupal is a content management system. So how does Drupal help? Well, the Drupal out-of-the-box content management experience looks like this. So the admin/content view we all know. Maybe we love it, maybe we hate it. But especially if you are, for example, in the role of an SEO, of a social media guy, you want to actually learn what is the last content which was published, let's say the last 2 weeks, or you want to see upcoming content. What's going to happen in the next 2 weeks? What landing pages is there? Is it already finished? And actually the admin/content view cannot answer that. So I think we need a better solution for this. So what is actually the solution? What people today use to fix this problem? Well, they probably open up Excel and they call the file plan.xls. Well, Excel is an awesome tool. Maybe 2 months later, there is a plan version 7, plan version 42, or even a version 666 with a final new 4 version. I don't know, maybe you know the situation. So obviously, Excel is a bad solution. A spreadsheet is not an editorial planning tool. So the thing is, we use Drupal. We have an awesome content management tool. This canvas is something we show in our consulting sessions with clients. I quickly explain it. On the left side, you see the main levels or layers. This is strategy, operations, and analytics. And the most interesting is actually operations. It's also where Drupal comes in. Drupal is very strong with content, and Drupal is also very strong as a digital platform. You can build custom functionality, you can build whatever you want. You can build headless stuff, you can build content hubs, you can build landing pages, you can build whatever you can imagine of. But there is a layer in between. For some reason, we forgot. It's the editorial layer. For example, if we have a digital platform in place and we create content, it's mostly based on some concepts, some marketing strategies, some communication strategy, and usually this work is done outside of Drupal, and I think we can do better. So how could or how should it be? And what can we learn also from other tools? I made a little bit of research and I show you 3 examples with 3 interesting aspects which highly influenced the Drupal Content Planner module. Well, first is our brother, let's call it brother or sister, WordPress. So when you install WordPress, what you get out of the box? You get this wonderful dashboard. So when I log in to my WordPress site where I write about permaculture and gardening, I see the posts, I see how many pages I have, I see the comments, I can review the comments very easily. I see the last activities. I can even enable very simply some Google Analytics statistics, and I can start right away with a draft. Actually, very handy and very practical tool. And we don't have that in Drupal out of the box. So what I like here, it's a summary of your site, it's a starting point, and it's kind of a safe place to start whatever you want to do. A second example is Trello. Trello is very powerful. It's used for so many things. It's a task manager, and obviously you can also use it as an editorial calendar. You can create any column you want. You can collaborate very easily with a team, a very powerful tool. I used it a lot. The only issue is it's not connected to the Drupal site at all. So especially if you have a lot of content and also a lot of content live already, it's very hard to actually keep track of, and it's not in sync because it's not connected. Trello is not connected with your blog or with your whatever notes or content types you have on your website. So it's certainly a cool tool for task management, but maybe not the right thing if you want to use it as an editorial calendar, especially if you have a lot of content. But what I like about this tool, it's easy to use, it's very quick. You have this kanban approach, so it's a wonderful tool. We can learn from that. Another tool I found was CoSchedule. CoSchedule is a marketing calendar solution. So what this tool is very cool because they put the calendar at the center of the interface. So when you log into CoSchedule, what you see is a calendar, and you can actually plan your contents, you can plan your social media posts, you can plan your whatever campaign, whatever content piece you're going to create in the future, or you create it so you have a nice overview, and it's calendar based. So it's not list based as we have it in the admin/content view. A very powerful feature, especially if you want to see what's going on, where do we have free time where we can actually communicate stuff in the future. So, why I love this tool? My learning is they are all collaborative, so you have multi-user access. It's synced in real time. They are visual, so you can actually drag and drop right there, and it's not so abstract, and they are visual. You see if it's published, if it's not published, you see if something is done or it's not done, and it's also contextual. For example, we don't use a list, but we use a calendar in CoSchedule. So it's a very easy to understand, weeks and months, so it's in good context. So we can actually take that as a basis and build something in Drupal. And now the digital team is maybe already a little bit nervous, and they ask themselves, do we have this for Drupal? And the answer is, yes, there is, and it's called Drupal Content Planner. So when we started about 1.5 years, 2 years ago with the module, our main objective was, let's create a Drupal native solution for editorial planning. And the main features should include managing, planning, scheduling, and rescheduling content as easy as possible. It should be easy to use for non-tech people. Also, it should be collaborative, visual, contextual, and it should be open source, of course, which means it's free and you can hack it, you can extend it, and you can use the Drupal APIs to basically build around whatever you want. And the goal was to make a Drupal native solution. So it's not an add-on, it's an available module in Drupal Content. So today's feature, it's available. We are not at the version 1.0 now. We are in beta 11. Beta 12 will come out most likely tomorrow. There's some bug fixes and some small feature improvements. But what we have is, we have a dashboard, we have a content calendar, and we have a content kanban view. And I'm gonna quickly show you now. And I take our blog, our netnode.ch/blog as an example. It's a typical blog, magazine-like. And when you look at the very top, there is a new tab besides the normal Drupal stuff, it's called Content Planner. So we actually put a complete new tab in the main navigation and added all the 3 parts below. So there's Content Planner, Dashboard, Content Calendar, and the Kanban view. And I quickly go through them now. So the dashboard looks like this. This is the very basic out-of-the-box view. And the dashboard is very simple. You can actually add widgets. There are a couple of out-of-the-box widgets, but you can also add HTML content, and you can add any view. So you can create your custom view within Drupal and expose it on the dashboard. There's some interesting widgets I quickly want to show. For example, there's something like a content status, and it actually maps all the content which are part of a moderation workflow, and it shows the amount of content you have in a certain step. Another widget is the Editorial Team. This is cool if you have a small marketing communication team, and then you also see how many contributions a certain person had, and also in what stage they are in. Another widget is just like last activities. So when happened, who made what on what page. It's just an easy stream of activities you can follow on your site. So that's the dashboard. And then there is the content calendar view. The content calendar view is a monthly view. Basically, you choose the year on the left side, and then you have the whole year. And then you can scroll through the whole year and see the months. And you see the contents, the notes, the actual notes of the Drupal site. And you can work with the content. You can, if you go closer, you see there is a small edit pencil. And you can also delete content. You can duplicate content. And the cool thing is you can actually drag and drop the notes between days. So rescheduling or even scheduling is very easy. You also see this small plus icon. You can add your notes or content types through the plus icon. So whenever you are in an editorial meeting, you can actually do the planning within Drupal. Yeah, you can also scroll through the months, choose the years. That's the content calendar. Then there's the Kanban view. As I said, it's our own blog, and we have a rather complex workflow. And this is actually using the Drupal core workflow module. So you can configure your workflow however you want it. And then you map your contents on that. And the cool thing about the Kanban module is you can also drag and drop notes. And you cannot only drag and drop it, you can actually filter on top by user. So you see immediately who's working on what. You can do an instant search. Actually, screenshot is slightly outdated. There are more filters now. For example, you can filter by content type also. So it's a very powerful view to actually see what we are working on. And it's also connected with the Drupal permission system. So for example, you could think of an author role or editor role, and they can only see their own notes and not all, but the chief editor can see all content of all users. So very powerful feature, very easy to use, very visual. These are the 3 main components of the module. And now, since it was a request by a lot of people, I'm going to show you how you can actually configure the module. And it's very easy to do. I quickly switch the screen to the browser. So it's always a bit tricky to do a live demo, but I'm going to try it. So what you see here is a brand new Drupal 8.9.2 installation, the Umami demo site. So what you need to do is enable the Content Planner module. So I go to Extend, and then just search for Content Planner, and then enable it. Content Planner module itself is only dependent on the scheduler module. So this is the only dependency we use. Obviously, we also use core modules like moderation, workflow. Yeah. So the only requirement is scheduler module. And scheduler module is used to auto-publish content. So yeah, but there are not a lot of dependency, no third-party dependency, PHP libraries, whatever. So very easy and very lightweight module, actually. So when it's installed, it takes a while on my local machine, you immediately see the Content Planner section at the top. Let me quickly update in the configuration translations. There's a question, is it accessible? Actually, we haven't tested that, but there was no focus on accessibility, to be honest. Maybe we have to do some additional work to make it accessible. I can imagine it's accessible because we use very basic HTML, but yeah, definitely we would need some work to make it purely accessible. So when you have installed the module, what you have to double check is what content types are connected with a certain workflow. So now I'm gonna check the workflow, and with the Umami distribution or with the Umami installation profile, there is one basic, content moderation workflow. So I'm gonna double check, and that's what I suggest you to also when you install it, check your content types. So it's important that the content types you want to show in the calendar views, they need to be connected to that certain workflow, okay? So in the Umami default installation profile, all content types are connected. So that's good. Check workflow connection. And then go to your content types. And then what you need to do, you need to configure the scheduler module. So you go to the main content type configuration page and then open up the scheduler. And then you need to enable the scheduler. So enable scheduled publishing for this content type. You can configure as you like. Usually I like to publish content immediately. You can also enable unpublish, whatever you want. But I suggest on the node edit page, put that in a separate field set and also show always open the scheduler settings. So now scheduler is configured for article. Also, let's do it quickly for recipe content type. Go to schedule, this, and then also here separate field set. Save it. And now we have these two content types. I don't want to have basic page on the calendar view because basic page is only static content. And now if you go to the content calendar, you go to the content calendar view, you see the content calendar itself is not yet configured. So you have to go to the settings, and then you can even decide what article, what content type you want to enable. And then you can hit save. And now if you go back to the calendar view, voila, here are all the contents. And obviously these are the demo contents of the Umami theme. And then you can even like reschedule however you want it, right? So I clicked on a thing. So yeah, very easy to do. And it's the content calendar section is already working. Very good. So now go to the dashboard. Dashboard also you need to configure a little bit because you want to have your widgets set up. So you go to settings, and then you have some out-of-the-box widgets. Maybe let's start with the content status widget, the one I showed you before. When you save it, then you also need to configure it. So let's call it content status. And then you need to select the workflow. So obviously you could have multiple workflows, but you need to select the main workflow you use for your content. If you hit save configuration and you go to the dashboard, you immediately see the content status based on the content you have on your site. So there are a couple of other cool widgets, for example, the Editorial Team widget or the user widget. So I select this one, enable this one. I also need to configure this one. So this is, for example, Editorial Team. And then you can even choose the roles. So for me, I only want author and editors, and I want to show it on the second position on the dashboard. So we're just using weights to actually place the dashboard. And voila, you have the editorial team with all the contributions, and yeah, you have a team view what's going on, right? And then what's actually cool, I mean, okay, the simple thing is the HTML widget. I mean, this is really very basic. For example, you could think of an important links section, and then you can put any content you want. For example, you could add links to the right Google Analytics account or your MailChimp account or whatever tool you use just to find it, even your time tracker and time tracking tool, whatever. So the dashboard is really the place where you start your work, for example, as a content editor or a marketing team member. So, oops, let me fix the positioning quickly. So yeah, this is enabled. And then what I told you before, what you can also do is you can connect any view, any custom view even. So if you enable the views widget one, for example, you configure it, and then you could do, for example, users online. I mean, I just select this one, and then here you have the list of all available views. And just for demo purposes, you could say who's online. I just want to show this content, save it. I also going to place it on a certain position, and voila, you have this view here available. And I mean, here really the idea is to customize the dashboard with existing tools. You can create your own custom blocks. There's even a small plugin system where you could create any widget block you want, or you can create your own custom views. And for example, on our site, we use the Google Analytics view plugin. So basically, we use views to load Google Analytics data to show some basic statistics on the dashboard. So this is about configuring the dashboard. And then what I haven't showed you until board, I mean, the Kanban board itself is ready to use when you configure the dashboard and the calendar also. And for example, here you can just drag and drop stuff. For example, if you want to archive stuff, etc. Yeah, so this was the demo about installation. I don't go into more details now, because if we are going to talk about the permissions and roles permissions, it would take too much time. But I quickly show you the permission system and the specific permissions that are available. So, for example, if you, I haven't installed permission helper module to actually find the permission. It's quicker, but there is a content planner module, so you can actually enable and disable if somebody is able to view the dashboard. Then there is a kanban permission, and there is also a calendar permission. It takes too much time to show you, but I think you get the concept. So it's very powerful. You can configure as you want. We created really like simple editor roles, which only show the Content Planner tab on the top. And then you have dashboard, content calendar, and content kanban. So it's very powerful, very easy to use as a content author or editorial team member. So I switch back to the presentation. So this was my installation demo. Let me check the time. We still have 15 minutes. Okay. So, well, upcoming features. I mean, okay, we have to make the 1.0 release ready, but we already thinking about what we can build on top of that. These are really ideas, mock-ups. There is no functionality at all, but just to show you a little bit about the vision, where this could go. So one idea is editor notes. So how cool would it be to have some kind of well, communication thread or even notes on the note edit page? So I would use this a lot because sometimes I do some research and I don't know where I place the research results. That could be an editor role, or if I review some sort of content, I want to actually put a review somewhere. So why not use editor notes for that? And then even, so there is a small resolve link here. So you could even resolve a certain note. I think that would help a lot and would make the editorial experience much cooler. Another idea is tasks, editor tasks. So why not have some kind of task list, just a simple tick box. You could, well, make to-dos and then just tick it as done. This is actually an inspiration also of CoSchedule and other like proprietary planning systems. What they also do is like predefined to-do lists. So it's kind of a checklist even. And I would love to have that, especially if I write a lot of content, a lot of strategic content. I would love to have a task checklist, kind of. And another idea we have is a content preview. So why not have on the right side a content preview section? It could even be multiple previews, like a desktop view, maybe a mobile view, and maybe even whatever, an app view, if it's possible to generate that screenshot. And actually, I use this on our site. And it especially helps if you want to review content as well. Just have a visual feedback how nice it's done, and if it fits right. And of course, you could go with another solution like a layout builder or even Gutenberg, which try to mimic the Visivik experience. But since Drupal is well, a content first and structured content management system. Well, you have different outputs basically. How cool would it be to have a visualization when you're actually editing and see the results right in the back end? So these are just 3 ideas we are working on, hopefully soon in the future. So yeah, but first we need to get version 1.0 to a very stable release. Actually, we are already using the module in a lot of client projects at NetNode. So it's stable, it works, but obviously there needs some cleanups in the code, and we also need to add some tests, automated tests, etc., and then we can go on. So, but we are, as I said, we are already thinking about upcoming versions, maybe version 1.1, which could include more collaboration features. Also, a feature I would love to see is notifications. actually get notification when a state changes or an article actually goes from review to published. I don't think we have to do that within the Content Planner module. There are modules that try to do that, but as far as I know, maybe you know a project that is solving actually the notification feature set we need. I would highly I would love to see it if we would have that in Drupal. And yeah, so some other obviously needed features are additional calendar views. I think there was one question in the chat. What if you have a lot of content? I mean, the example I showed you is just a couple of nodes a day or even 1 or 2 nodes. What if you have 10 or what if you have 100? Obviously, the monthly view doesn't work anymore. So it could work with a weekly view or even a daily view where you can drag and drop the time, maybe even add additional filters, for example, filter by content type on the calendar view or filter by taxonomy, etc. So yeah, additional calendar views would be a feature we need. Then the auto preview image I told you before, the calendar notes, and some even more advanced features which totally would make sense to integrate is social media integration. So whenever when you do the content planning, obviously you not only want to plan your notes or your landing pages, obviously you also want to plan your social media content. And so something similar to Buffer. Yeah, so some future version ideas. I mean, we could build a lot of stuff. However, it's open source, so it's actually on us, not only at NetNode. There was also a lot of contributions already from the community, which I like. But I want you to invite also to help and make Content Planner one of the popular modules, because I think Drupal needs something like that. And also talk to me if you need help in configuring it, and even if you want to sponsor development. If you don't have the developers in-house, we could help you, and we would obviously love to also get some money out of it. Most of it we just do it in our spare time or for client work. Actually. So to summarize my talk, 3 takeaways. The first takeaway is install Drupal Content Planner module. It's there. Yeah, just compose require Drupal/Content Planner. Do it now. There is only one dependency, most likely already use scheduler. So it's there. And I also created an intro video on the project page. There is one link leads to YouTube. It's like a 3-minute intro, similar to what I showed you now. So if you want to send it around within your team, please do it and just make some promotions, some marketing for the module. I would highly encourage that, and also install the module. Yeah, second takeaway. I mean, this is very powerful. When you have this module in place, you can use it actually in your editorial meeting, and it will solve a lot of problems. You can forget about the Excel sheets. You can forget about the Trello board. You actually can break silos because everybody has the same view on the content and on the real content. So there is no kind of API mapping, because you actually work on the Drupal side where the content lives, and yeah, why not use it as a planning tool, right? And then the third takeaway is, well, drop your Excel sheets, because yeah, Excel is not an editorial tool. And hopefully, whatever role you have, yeah, we feel awesome. Yeah, so this was my presentation. Hopefully, I could inspire you a little bit that there is more than the admin/content view. Yeah, so there is also Drupal Slack channel, #content_planner, and also you can contact me if you have any question. Yeah, please help contribute and make this module better than it's already today. Well, if there are some questions, Let me know. I hope I can answer them. So one question is, are there any plans to integrate this with group module? Group module is complex, and I don't know. We don't have the plan to do that. If you have the plan and the capabilities and also the resources to do it, why not? Sure. So another question. This looks like an awesome dashboard tool for production content moderation setups as well. Is there a reason why the dashboard is currently has a requirement for kanban and calendar to be enabled? Well, basically, the dashboard itself is not needed. If you configure the permissions right, you can even hide the dashboard. To be honest, I never tested that, but technically it should work. Another question is there a time, is there any plan for integrating this with Workbench? Well, I think it's already integrating with Workbench, because Workbench is a bunch of views. I don't know exactly what you would want to have, but I guess there is no reason why it should be integratable. Is there a timeline for when stable release 1.0 will happen? Well, it will happen when it happens. So there is no defined timeline. As I said before, it's already stable. And well, we need just some testing, additional testing. So we need you actually to test it and give feedback and apply patches. And then we will do a 1.0 release. To be honest, it would be nice if we have it later this year. And this is also our goal. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I cannot guarantee a 1.0 release. Okay. Okay, another question. When you drag the items around on calendar, are you changing the publish status or scheduled publishing date? Yes. So no, we don't change the publish status. So if you have a draft and you know you're going to publish the draft maybe in a month, so you just drag it there. And what we're going to change is the date. So we keep the time, the publishing time, but we're just going to change date. So if you have planned a blog post tomorrow, it's not ready, and you want to move it to the next Friday, for example, it just will change the date and not the time. I think this was a reasonable solution. If you want to change the time also, you need to edit the node. Another question is, are there any plans with extending the functionality to be content entity type agnostic? For example, taxonomy, menu, etc. Currently, we only support nodes, content type nodes. There is actually a patch out there that tries to make it entity type agnostic. So you could even use your custom entities and maybe even taxonomy menus, etc. But this needs work. So it's kind of the roadmap. But since it's mostly nodes you want to publish, we actually wanted to keep it simple. But yeah, I agree. And certainly there are certainly use cases you wanna use taxonomies, for example, or custom entities to connect with Content Planner module. Do you provide hooks to alter functionalities? Yes, I mean it's entirely built on the Drupal API, so you can use Drupal API functionality. There are no custom hooks we created, but obviously you can use any hook of Drupal itself. It's actually, I mean, the Content Planner module is actually only a visualization of content you already have. So there's actually not a lot of magic in the module. It's a clever visualization. So you can use the Drupal framework as you want. Okay. can we have your slides? Yes. I can provide them. I think I will provide them on our website, netnote.ch, and if I can provide that to the DrupalCon website, I don't know how that works, but obviously I can make them available. Can this module be used for D7? Unfortunately not. There was one module we had internally in Drupal 7, internally, but it's not available on Drupal.org. It was very hacky. It was more like a test ground for Drupal 7, but now we have a much better solution for Drupal 8. So migrate your site to Drupal 8 and 9. Do you find similarities between working with Drupal and permaculture? Oh yes, Drupal can change the world and permaculture also. So permaculture is open source and just nurturing your soil and nurturing your society, and we have a better world. Lots of customers need a 1.0 release. If it's stable, why not push a 1.0 version? Also, is there a list of issues which need resolving before 1.0? Yes, please check the issue queue. There's some feedbacks, and some bugs also, small bugs, some edge cases which need to be fixed before a 1.0 release. Well, actually, we could just do a 1.0 release, but I think people would expect, yeah, a very stable module if it's 1.0. So I better like to keep it beta for the moment. But yeah, please help. Yeah, apply, make patches, make tests, and let's make it stable. Is there a sprint planned for releasing at DrupalCon? No, not specifically, or not at the moment, but maybe if you're interested, we could set up kind of a sprint. Maybe we can meet us in the Drupal Slack channel, content _planner, and then we can work on it and maybe even make a 1.0 release during this DrupalCon. I actually made some bug fixes yesterday for beta 12 release. Now it's beta 11 release and already fixes a couple of bugs. Yeah, so I think we are already over time, but let's answer more questions if you have. Why a single module? Why not part of a distribution submodules? Well, actually, there are 3 modules. There's the Content Planner modules, and it has 2 submodules. One submodule is the calendar, and one submodule is the kanban board. And since they are very closely connected together, we ship it as a single module. It's also easier to actually manage the dependencies between these 3 modules, but just in terms of code organizations and separation of aspects in the coding sense, we created submodules. And why not part of a distribution? Well, you can package that in your distribution. And I actually found out yesterday that the Vardot distribution is using Content Planner as a module. So there's a Vardot Content Planner module, which define Content Planner module as a dependency. So yeah, why not do that? Have you looked at using full calendar view module? When we started the Content Planner module, I checked all the calendar views. So I think full calendar module was not ready by then. I don't know the status today. And we made a decision. I know that Drupal and the power of Drupal lays in the modularization, and also yeah, everything is actually configurable. And calendar views, to be honest, calendar views are very complex. So we made a decision. If we want to make it based on full calendar module, for example, it would take us much more time. and we are kind of limited by the power of this module. For example, the drag and drop feature. For example, the plus icon there, and you know, the jumping between months and stuff. Well, I don't know how this could work with full calendar. Obviously, or most likely, it would work today. It was not back then. But it's also, I would say, the Content Planner module is also a little bit opinionated by me, to be honest, because we needed a simple solution, you know, and of course it can be modularized, etc. But modularization also makes a lot of complexity, brings a lot of complexity. So why not keep things simple and then evolve it over time? So if maybe we could even integrate it today with full calendar, or maybe in a 2.0 release, but we just wanted to get the module going and use it for in production, or use it as quickly as possible. Yeah, I just learned that full calendar view has support for drag and drop, which is cool. And well, obviously you get for free the month and week and day view. So maybe it would be interesting to have a look into that. There is a question, which distribution is using it? The Vardot distribution, I just told you. And also at NetNode, we create the digital experience platform distribution, but it's our own agency distribution, and it's also integrated with that, for example. We also had a discussion with the Thunder distribution team. Thunder, the distribution, especially for media sites. Obviously, for media sites, magazines, online magazines, an editorial calendar is a core feature or key feature. And I don't know who's using it, but we build a lot of Thunder-based sites, and also we integrate that with Thunder distribution. So any other questions? So if not, let me check if I forgot a question. Well, I think we covered all the questions. Yeah. Thank yous. Thank you. Yeah, I just wait a couple of minutes. If you have additional questions, I hope I can answer that. Can you review permaculture ethics and principle just briefly? Well, it's a big topic, but basically it's three main ethic points. One is earth care, so we should care for soil and our earth. We should care for people, and yeah, we should do a fair share. So open source is all about sharing code, and build on top of other achievements. So this is the main ethics. And you seem to like permaculture too. So any other questions? Oh yeah, one thing I forgot, please also write an evaluation. In the sticky, there's a sticky message of Bethany Lister in the session chat, the SurveyMonkey link. Please review the session. So there's another question. Is Google Analytics reports used for showing analytics on the dashboard? Anything custom required? No, it's actually the Google Analytics reports. Yeah, it's. I think you need a PHP library to actually gather the content. You need the API key of the Google API, and then you can load data from Google Analytics, and then you create your view, and then you expose the view on the dashboard. Merci beaucoup, Nathan. Do you feel like this adds any performance issues? No, I don't think. I mean, we don't work with sites that have 100,000 nodes, but for example, we had sites that have on the yearly calendar view, for example, about 1,000 nodes a year, so no issues at all. The dashboard itself is simple, and the kanban board, yeah, obviously, if you have a lot of nodes, it can harm your site or even crash it if you have a lot of content. Any other questions? What happened to the content that is archived? Does it become unpublished? Well, yes. Usually, if you have an archived state in the Drupal workflow, usually you unpublish the content, but this is entirely based on your customized workflow. I mean, it really depends on how you configure your workflow. I hope this answers the question. So how do you handle many nodes on a single calendar day? How do you manage it? Yeah, I mean, well, we haven't had the use case in our projects where you have 100 nodes in a day. This won't work now, but we could extend the monthly calendar view to, for example, a weekly view. And then you have multiple nodes on a day, spread it all over a week. Or we could add additional filters. For example, you could say, only show me the articles of this business section or whatever. And we can also limit the amount, but this is not done yet. We need to do that to actually be able to work with lots of nodes on one day. Would love to see such a use case. A good future enhancement might be to include a reminder to review content in line with governance standards like annual content reviews. Yeah, I agree, Bill. How we do it today with Content Planner is at one point, somebody of the editorial team is going through the published kanban and we add another stage called optimization, and then we just put the content from published to needs optimization column, and then we can spread it out to different people, different authors. They will review it, put it to the review state, and then republish it. You can do it manually, and basically you could write your own hooks doing that on a manual, on a yearly, yearly schedule, for example. Yeah, I mean, I'm still here. If you have questions, ask me now, because I think it's good. I think it's interesting for me. And also, if I can answer you now, it would be much easier than later on Slack or direct email. Yeah, I mean, anyway, you can always contact me on this email and on Drupal Slack. My name is Lucas Fischer, and also the channel is Content Planner in Drupal Slack. Any other question? Just, can you see a reason to integrate with business rules module? To be honest, I don't know the business rules module. I don't know. It's a replacement for rules. So I have to look into that. I think, why not use rules for changing statuses, changing based on rule stuff? Yeah, why not automate the kanban board with business rules, for example, or with rules module? Why not? Even notification could be possible. Yeah. Any other question? Maybe I missed some questions. You can re-ask. JSON API could be, also JSON API could be powerful. That was one mentioned by Chris. Yes, I mean, JSON API is separated from the Content Planner module. Again, the Content Planner module is more or less a visualization, and it's using Drupal core features. It's basically a visualization. Any other feedbacks? Any other questions? Okay. Oh, another question. We have a state labeled ready to publish as we want the editor to publish content instead of the system. Can that be changed in your module? We have a state labeled ready to publish, yes. And as we want the editor to publish content instead of the system. I think, it should be doable. Ready to publish, yeah. You want to manually publish, right? I mean, just set up the workflow like that. Maybe I don't get the question right, but this is certainly doable. Yeah, maybe we need to clarify that in a one-to-one discussion. Any other question? Let's use the time. So, okay, no more question. Again, please help contribute. Content Planner is really open source. I think it's very powerful. Please help let's make us a stable release. It's on drupal.org project/content planner. Install it today, check it out, and post issues if you have posted some patches, then you can make it to a stable release. Let's follow the discussion on Drupal Slack. The channel is called Content_Planner, and maybe we can even make a 1.0 release during the DrupalCon. So thank you very much. Don't forget to stretch tomorrow or even today, and have a nice DrupalCon. Thank you. Thank you very much.